You tell that slimy piece of worm-ridden filth that we'll have his team farmed as quickly as possible. Just please have a little bit of patience is all. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Xaereth Prevails. We're going to talk about the Jabba requirements today. What teams they can go on plausibly before Jabba and after Jabba, and what priority you should be farming them in, guys. Everyone in the world has been wanting to farm Jabba lately because of a lot of compelling reasons, such as the different events that you can have access to with him that you're going to be getting more and more behind in if you don't start working on him right now. Not to mention the new territory battle is going to require him, and even the older territory battles can use him, plus he's a really great galactic legend on his own strength beyond just events that he's good in, and so there's a lot of really compelling reasons to farm him. However, there's not a lot of really obvious teams to use these characters on, and I'm not going to tell you that some of these characters are just pretty awful, frankly, guys. Like, you're not going to use them if we're just being honest. Like, most factions have a character like that, like Rose Tico, and people just see her as a tax to get Rey, and that's probably the way you need to look at her. At least she is a pilot now, but we're going to look at some of the teams you can use for them, and, you know, some of the things you can maybe stretch goals if you're really interested. So let's jump into the game as quickly as we can. Just want to remind you, if you want to support the channel for free, all you've got to do is hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment, do something to help me mount the algorithm. All that support really truly helps this channel grow, and I really appreciate all of you. You're all amazing. Thank you so much for every single thing, or at least some things, a few things. Whoa, madness. We're in the game. This is crazy. How do we get in the game? This is total madness. It's not responsible. Now, my alt is going for Jabba now. I know that I had said I was probably going to go for Supreme Leader Kylo recently. I've recently changed my mind. Maybe we can have some kind of a video about that at some point, justifying it. But at the end of the day, this is going to be a team that I want for my alt. And so I'm doing this from my alt's account. My main account already has like basically all these characters and teams farmed up. And it's kind of awkward to do it from my alt because they're not really that ready. But I think that it kind of does demonstrate a few of the different assumptions that I'm going to be making, like such as what a good sentence formation, Xaereth. But this is the farming priority, guys, and I think that the top list that you probably already have ready, if you're going for Jabba in a serious way, like if you're a brand new character, character or player, if you're brand new, I don't know if it's the best idea to be working on Jabba first. I'm not sure. I'm still trying to decide, but the fact remains, Jedi Knight Luke has a ton of requirements that are actually fairly difficult to get in some cases. Like getting some of those old GET 1 and 2 characters from the shop might take a little while to get, like Wampa, Rolo, etc. And you know, Boba Fett, you might have him from the Profundity unlock, and I don't know, is he required for Executor? I don't remember, but he's required already. Raid Han Solo, you're gonna have to unlock him, you know, and get him up to Relic 8 eventually and everything. And so, you know, you can get him up to 8 early on. I think that that's actually a great idea. C-3PO, you can wait for a while, but they're all characters that you're probably gonna use to unlock Jedi Master Luke. I think 3 of these characters actually are required for Jedi Master Luke. And so, if you have Jedi Master Luke, you're already, you know, halfway there, kind of. You're getting there. And I don't know. I think that this farm is going to be tricky for a very brand new player. That being said, if you're not brand new, if you're somewhere in the middle to approaching the middle, you might already have these farms ready. If you don't, these are the priority because these are your very best characters. They're amazing, and your account is just going to benefit by having them. Even if you have to swerve in the middle of your Jabba farm, you're like, you know what? I need to pump the brakes. I need to stop. We need to go a different route. This was a mistake. These 4 characters on the top are going to be really good regardless, and you will not regret having farmed them. That being said, you need to be working consistently on characters that you don't have all the shards for. It's been disturbing to me consistently how little geared, how many farms people have neglected over the years. People are like, man, I don't have Gamorrean Guard, and I'm like, you've had 5, 6, 7 years to farm him. Like, you should have been farming him just in case, but you should be working on your farms, and the 3 that are the most obvious that need to be farmed are going to be Boosh, Scando, and Chrysanthemum. These 3 are also characters that are good in their own right. Now in 3v3, this makes up their own team, and it's actually fairly good because you can't call assists against the Boosh team. Like, you can put them on defense if you have them in relics, or even, you know, at lower levels, you can probably put them in their gear 11 or gear 12, where they actually do fairly well. You want to put all their Zetas on, all of that stuff, and but they're definitely the characters that you want to prioritize. If you could get them to relics earlier on, then these would be the priorities for sure. They're really good characters in their own rights. I mean, they're obviously newer characters as well, and their gearing requirements are kind of reflected there too. They're pretty expensive to gear, but they are very good characters. They will all go eventually on your Jabba team, and it's very difficult to compete with them. Now, characters that are actually useful right now. There's not a ton more in the journey guide. If you look at what's in the journey guide, you have, I mean, here, I'll just show you the rest of the characters. The other 7 unlock characters are, you know, Fennec and Aura and Gamorrean Guard are useful now in the sense that Fennec is actually great at cleaning up Lord Vader. You can see on my alt, she's already Zetaed. She has Relic 5. If you look at her modding, it's fairly good. And that's because she is the person who finishes off Lord Vader after I kill all the ads on his team. She is really important to my entire roster, and she's already Relic 5. She's one that you can work on right now, and you'll never feel bad about that. Bounty hunters really need her. Aura, you see, I already have her at gear 11 with a Zeta, and the fact is, I used her with my bounty hunters in 5v5 quite a bit to be able to just, you know, if you have Zam already, Omicron and everything, then your bounty hunters are going to be able to snipe out a ton of different teams and just go in and wipe them out, and Aura is helpful for that. I'll show you guys the teams that she's on, but she's very good. You just don't need her to be relics for that team to be good, which is why I haven't done it yet. But, you know, putting the Zeta on her and everything is pretty good. Remember, that's that lead Zeta. Don't put the weird topple Zeta again for the raid stuff. Don't do that. Gamorrean Guard, I don't know if he's actually that, like, he's an okay tank. He does okay things. He got some new abilities and stuff. He's going to be instrumental later. I'll show you guys the teams. However, he can be used as a taunting tank on any number of teams if you so need it. Now, the Yuck No Thanks category is just like, well, okay, like you could maybe find teams for him. You know, Greedo you could put with some pretty bad bounty hunters or whatever, but I just wouldn't recommend getting into the habit of making garbage teams that involve Greedo. Like, maybe he'll end up being good at some point. I could be proven wrong. He's probably the one with the most promise out of all of these. However, Jawa, if you don't have a full Jawa team that are relict, that's not that good, but if you do somehow, for some reason, have 4 relict Jawas, including Jawa and Jawa Scavenger, Engineer, and Nebbit, then this team can actually be very good and take out a few different mid-level meta teams. Mob Enforcer, let's just skip her. And is going to be, I don't know, if you want to put the Omicron on the Tusken team in 3v3, that's your business. Don't talk to me about it, because I will not condone such brazen acts of waste. I don't know. It's not a good team so far. It does okay. It's like if you really love Tuskens, then go watch a movie that has Tuskens in them. Don't actually put an Omicron on them. Like, don't. You know what? It's actually fairly good early game. If you wanted to do that, I've been thinking about that for if I've ever started a new account. It might be a good team in 3v3. Honestly, for a new account, it might be kind of fun, but it's also like you have to gear some awful characters. Now, you have for teams here, I'm just going to show you some examples of things that we use. So, Han and 3PO are already part of the really established, really strong CLS team, and even though some people are hinting that maybe this new Afro requirement, Sana Santos, or whatever her name is, Santa is coming to town, whatever her name is. She might mix this team up a little bit. I'm not sure. We don't know yet. I do think that right now, and it's been this case for years, Han and Chewie go on a CLS team, and it's a pretty established thing. So no worries there. Jedi Knight Luke can go on a lot of different Jedi teams. This is my personal favorite because it can counter Supreme Leader Kylo squads, and it can take out most other teams that aren't Galactic Legends. They just do a lot of stuff. They can even clean up a lot of Galactic Legends. I really like this particular build. It is fairly expensive with all these different good characters, but I mean, in terms of requirement teams, this is probably my favorite. And if you watch the video that I've made about how to speed this squad up, like I said, you can use it to consistently beat Supreme Leader Kylo teams, at least if the datacrons all, add up. Right now, Kylo has a datacron and this team doesn't, so maybe that wouldn't work, etc. But anyways, so otherwise, Boba can go on a few different teams. He likes scoundrel teams, really. Like he likes some bounty hunter stuff, and he might go on a Jabba team, honestly. But if you don't want to put him on Jabba, or if you just want to find a use for him earlier before he gets to Jabba, you can put him with Bam, like Beskar Mando with Queel and IG, Bo-Katan Kryze. You kind of I actually made a Faction Essentials video for this squad. You can go check that out, and it does okay. You don't need to put his Zeta on or anything. You can see I haven't on my alt. On my main I have, but as long as your Queel is pretty quick, he can go first, and then Bando's gonna just go into Whistling Birds, and then Boba Fett's good because he does an AoE, which gives 5 Whistling Birds to Mando. And, you could put, like, Dengar on the team instead if you wanted. Bo-Katan's here because she's also a scoundrel, so she benefits from all their stuff. But then she has the cool AoE Dispel / Daze. You could he's kind of like a mix and match character. You could put him on a bunch of different squads. You could probably even stash, like, Mob Enforcer here if you really wanted to. I guess, like, that could be a use for her. I didn't really think of putting it on this team earlier, but you could do that. She's a scoundrel. She's cool. She's not that cool. She's actually kind of a grump. She looks like a grump. So we have this team this team looks so sketch, honestly. Like it starts off, it's one of those things where you don't realize how good it is until you kind of continue along the way, and you're like, oh, this is actually not too bad. You're like, what have I gotten myself into, though? Because Aura doesn't need a whole lot of gear. Of course, she needs Relic 6 for job requirements, but if you can get the Zam Omicron, though, Aura Sing, then you need a fast Bosk and Grief. I have a Bounty Hunters Faction Essentials. You guys can watch that to see how it works, but essentially, it just goes Bosk taunts, Grief goes immediately 1 speed slower, so he calls the Mass Assist. Boss gets another turn because of Frenzy. He calls a Mass Assist. Mandalorian immediately gets a turn because you've already gotten your contract from Aura Singh's leadership, and Mandalorian snipes someone dear to the enemy, and maybe doesn't sleep that well at night because of the horrific death toll and body count he's created. However, this team is really good because Zam makes them all super fast, and Aura Singh really fits in really well with them because she has a really nice stun on basic. She does a lot of damage actually on her own, and she also can do multiple turns in a row based off of her kit. So lots of really good stuff from Aura. She is very useful even right now if you have the rest of these bounty hunters, which frankly, I mean, I think you should be working on them. You don't have to have them as fast as, I have them to be right around 400 speed after Zam's stuff, but, bonuses, but you don't have to. It's pretty well advised, though. It totally just snipes out this BAM team, for instance. Now, Fennec, this is a team that I would use mostly to just finish off a Galactic Legend. This will take out a lot of different Galactic Legends. In fact, Fennec lead, especially against Lord Vader, if he's alone or just with 1 or 2 friends, you can do some pretty cool stuff. You can also take down like Jabba. I've seen people use versions of this team that you probably won't Bosk for that against like Rey or something just to clean them up. and you can always use them if it's hard to get her contract. Her contract is get rid of a bunch of debuffs. If you're facing a team that doesn't have a ton of debuffs, or you can't get rid of them for some reason, then maybe you use Bosk Lead or something if you want a little more resilience, or Mando if you want some other stuff. Like Bam is a nice addition to this team. It is not absolutely necessary, but this is an example of what a Fennec team would be, and I don't know if I would use Bam here or not, frankly. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. That's a good answer, right? So now we get into the realm of sketch, my friends. We have like the Galactic Challenge teams, where it's like Cad Bane is the lead, and then you just boost his protection a ton, because that's what you kind of need to do for that. He's and then it's galactic challenges, and they can't get through his protection, so you can't lose characters, and you get a decent box, probably not red crate or anything for the challenge, but like that's probably what you're going to be using this team for, frankly, early on. Like, Cad Bane is Hut Cartel, that's cool, and he's a requirement for, well, I don't know if he's a requirement, but you need him. I personally require him for a good Executor fleet, and so, you want him at Relics and everything, and so it's just a weird team, but that's probably the most useful you're going to have until you actually get these characters farmed. Like, it's kind of this painful gap where you feel like, okay, I got all the good characters done, now I'm just plodding through trying to farm the other good characters, and the rest of them are just kind of garbage that I have to be working on in the background. So, an example of a good Gamorrean Guard team, like, he's probably going to die, frankly, but one of the uses you can have is, because he's a tank, you can actually just force the taunt onto him from Sith Eternal, and because he's dark side, he gets more boosts than if you use like a light side tank or something. So he can be forced to taunt. He's not a pre-taunt character, but he can be used for that effect, and then you just have like your armor a little bit faster. Obviously this team is, I don't even have Sith Eternal unlocked on this account, and even if I did, my armor would need a lot more work, and all of them would, but that way you have a tank that you can regrow with the Geobrute Alpha. You have armor and Thrawn. If armor is 21 speed faster than Thrawn, then you get plus 21 speed, or 20 speed for Thrawn. So armor goes, she gets to the third stack of Beskar ingots. Thrawn gets a turn immediately after the second. Right after that, hands the turn to armor again. She puts the 3 stacks of Beskar on Sith Eternal, and then you can kill like Jedi Master Kenobi teams even. Like, it's pretty fancy. And Gamorrean Guard is there to just entice people into pummeling him to death. It's a very sad existence for Gamorrean, but really, you can't expect more. Their moms don't even expect more. They're like, yeah, he's probably just gonna die, pummeled to death. It's okay. There's the Tusken team that I mentioned earlier. Like, they're not good without the Omicron. I would argue that they're not good with the Omicron, though they can give lower level accounts problems for sure. So honestly, if you want to get this team, if you're like really fascinated and really excited about it, kind of like aim for getting it early, and then try to get Lord Vader next, so then at least you have a Tusken Raider requirement done as well. And then you only have to work on the worthless Tusken Shaman on your own time and $1. So otherwise, the Jawa team, you like Barriss lead, you like Stormtrooper Han lead, characters that can survive, and then, as long as you have Scavenger, you need them all relicked, frankly, guys. Or maybe just Gear 12 if you're feeling really, really gambly today, but as long as they're survivable for a while, teams like Mon Mothma that call mass assists, like Geonosians, teams that do a lot of, just assisting, then this is kind of the team for you. Like, they probably work on like an Akbar Omicron team, etc. And then all the Jawas usually just get wiped out, and then Barriss survives just long enough, or maybe she keeps him alive just long enough for all of the 40, 50, 60 thermals to just detonate in their face. Jawa's kind of a fun choice just because he is part of the Jabba, theme of thermal detonators. So at least it's kind of, in a way, thematic. Otherwise, this is the final team that you're going to be aiming for, folks, is Jabba. And as of right now, this is the team that everyone is embracing, that is like, okay, well, this is probably the best version. Like, maybe instead of Gamorrean Guard, you could put Embo or Boba, but I think the that having the double tank with Chrysanthemum and Gamorrean Guard is going to be the best. Plus, Scando and Boosh are going to be fairly irreplaceable. Plus, if you put Gamorrean Guard here instead of Boba, it makes Boosh the weakest character on the team, which means she's going to be assisting quite a bit more, which mechanics-wise is really nice because she's the one who's going to be doing most of the damage. But really, like, the rest of them are just going to be staving it off. You know, Scando, he does damage. It's just, like, hard to notice sometimes. But otherwise, this is the best team as of the making of this video. I don't know if that's going to end up holding true. We're going to be getting new new characters released that probably go on this team. Maybe we get, like, Bib Fortuna at some point as a lifter character, but as of right now, Gamorrean Guard also has a good Territory Battle Omicron that probably people are going to want, etc. Let me know what your thoughts are, folks. What do you like about the Jabba team and the requirements? I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, just another reminder, hit that thumbs up button. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are and what are some things that I'm missing. I'm not the sole arbiter of truth. Maybe there is a use for Mob Enforcer somewhere. That being said, folks, thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Xaereth prevails.